Hey everybody, Paul Sterling here. I am the author of Argue Less, Love More. And tonight's topic is all about divorced and dating again. And I have Mai Vu on, who is a expert in this area. And she's in the process of literally traveling around the country. What did you call it?
Lifing. I'm a van lifer.
So basically that's traveling around the country in a van. And today we're going to dive into about what does it take if you're divorced and wanting to date again? What gets in the way? What do you need to do? Where do you need breakthroughs? All the rest of that to sort of get back in the game again and overcome the terror, the fear, the upsets. So I'm going to dive in just a tiny bit, and then I'm going to introduce, well, I'll have Mai introduce herself a little bit more, but the three core things that really we're going to look at today, and I'm going to have to add an extra page here. Here we go. This is me on the fly. All right, three things that are needed for relationships. If you want to start dating again, three things you need to be and you need your partner to be. Number one, available. Number two, and I love that I can't spell that well, but capable. And number three, willing. And so what I want to do is ask Mai, how did you end up on this journey of helping people become more available, more capable, more willing? And what I hear is you focus mostly on women, although men do come track you down.
Yes, they do. So thank you for inviting me to the show. It's such an honor, and I'm excited to play with you and with your concept tonight too. So here we go. I am also an author. I'm a bestseller of A Divorced Mom's Guide to Dating. And how did I get on this journey? Because I got divorced and I had to date again. It wasn't my grand plan. I married a really great guy, had a beautiful house in a town called Pleasanton, and had a daughter who was 4 years old at that time. And then my marriage came to a screeching halt, and it completely fell apart, despite how much we both worked so hard and dedicated ourselves to it and to each other. Yet at the end of our relationship, we felt like we were not seen and understood by each other. It was the most painful thing. And at 40 years old, with a daughter, I found myself having to date again. And when I was younger, I sucked at dating. I sucked big time at dating. So to have to do it again was not what I wanted to do. So I had to undo, figure out, and really rearrange all the molecule inside me. And at that time, I wish that I had someone like me now to guide me through the whole process. But it was exactly what I needed to put my whole concept together. From my own experience, I gave birth to my signature concept called the 3Ps. And I have been trying it out and applying it to women across the world. Women in Vietnam, women in Azerbaijan, women in Western America, they're everywhere. And it seemed to be working. So I'm very excited to have found what I needed to do to show women how to, what I call, build a life with someone that you are loved, adored, and cherished.
Cool. Let me dive in and ask some questions here. And I want to comment to everybody on Facebook. This is interactive. Although we can't actually hear you right now, we can see a lot of your questions. I see them on the comments, and I'll make sure that Mai Vu gets to see them. But we want to hear your questions. If you've got questions about dating again and healing and what does it take to really make it work, let us know. And here's one of the first ones out of the gate here. How about dating online? And so that's one. And here's another one for you. I think it has to do with willing more than anything else. If you're not cut out there If you're not out there dating, you're not going to discover who you really are. So thank you for that. So I'm going to
Well,
bounce.
that what you just said right there is so important. I want to just grab that. Most people date so that they can find the one, but what you just said is if you're not out there dating, you're not going to discover yourself. Girlfriend, boyfriend, oh my God, stop action. That is so crucial. Most people don't want to discover themselves. They have this romantic idea that if they could meet someone, that something magical happened and then they live happily ever after without really knowing themselves and knowing how to be capable and willing to be in relationship, because it's not easy being in relationship, kids. That's just how
It,
it goes.
it's not. I'm going to go to your 3 Ps in a second. And I just want to just touch on, this is like the 7 essential skills. Once you get the relationship, once Mai Vu has gotten you through the process, you need to be able to communicate, be able to notice, name, and negotiate your needs, resolve conflicts, heal wound, create trust, intimacy, deal with differences. That's sort of like the master list if you want to have a remarkable relationship. So what are the 3 Ps?
Well, what I discovered for myself, and then since then have discovered in other women, like I have done this with over 1,000 women across the world now, where I see that we have 3 archetypes inside us that we are unaware of. And when we don't know these 3 best friend besties, and we only rely on one of the P's, we are. Can I swear on the show yet?
You probably can. I don't know.
It's your show, right? When it comes to relationship, I believe in swearing because relationship really sucks and it's hard and it really raw, most rawest instinct, right? So I am an advocate for swearing and going, fuck me. Why does this keep happening to me, right? So when we don't know our 3 Ps and only rely on the first P, we work really hard and we are not available to love. That's what I see with most women that come to me. They want me to help them, but they're not available for love. They're out there seeking love, but they're not available emotionally to love. And when they see love coming, well, first of all, they don't see love coming, but when I pointed out that that's love coming at you, they go, no, I don't want that love. And they're not available. So why try so hard when you're not available to be loved or to love?
So let me stop you there for a second. I
Take a
talk
breath.
about yeah,
So
take a
funny.
breath. I talk about emotionally, physically, mentally available. So when you're talking about available, what do you mean there? Like they're not available?
If they're a mom, they're not available physically. Like they hide behind their kids. And like, oh, I can't because my kids. If they don't have kids, they hide behind their pets. I even have a fun little research that Mai Vu does, which is if a woman has more than 2 pets, she is not dating because she's hiding behind those pets. So I can tell how available they are just by how many pets they have.
Yeah, there's another thing about availability that I think is critical, because I talk about clearing up the past, connecting, getting present, and creating possibilities for the future. And if you haven't cleared up the past, you're not
Yeah.
available in the present. You're just basically spend the whole time complaining about the past relationships. So
Right. And the past is not just the past relationship, but all the way to when you were born and your relationship with your parents and with your brothers or whatever that happened. Or I have some clients in Azerbaijan, south of Russia, next to Iran, way out in that Caspian Sea area, and they grew up in an environment where they live in like a clan, with families. And so even what their uncle said to them still have damaging effect up to this time in their life, and they're 40 something years old. So the past goes way back, honey. We gotta like heal that.
yeah, I was on actually I was on another podcast earlier today where I was a guest, and it's all about parenting. And the parenting, it's like generations of pain that hasn't
Yes.
been healed. And so there's the generations and there's what we've done in our life. And if we've had our heart broken. And so I've gone through 1 divorce, 4 broken engagements, and now I'm a relationship coach. Thank
Congratulations!
you. Thank you, Mai Vu. I knew that would get a cheer from you. But it's like, what do you recommend to people about how to clear up the past? How do you heal it and so you become more available?
So that's part of my first P. The first P of the 3 P's is the peasant woman. Peasant, Peasan. The peasant woman is our physical self, the one that gets up in the morning, works so hard, put herself last, try to, accomplish all these things, take care of the kids, take care of everybody. And then by the time she gets home, she's exhausted. And if somebody said to her, you should go out dating, she just want to punch you in the nose and said, fuck you, get out of my face, I'm too tired, right? So that peasant woman, oh baby, she's so long to be loved and hunger for it, and she seek it, and she tries to all these subtle ways, but she's not available to love because she has so much past wounding, past hurts that she hasn't healed. So my first thing that that I spend most of my time I spent with my clients is to help heal the peasant, to show her how to heal her own peasant, love her up so that she can surrender and open up to the other 2 P's so that they can help bring the love and the magic and the life and the abundance and everything that this peasant woman so hunger for. But first we have to heal that peasant woman. We have to tend to her every day. It's like a lifetime commitment to tend to your peasant.
So one of the things that I talk about, I'm going to tie this in and see if we connect on this one, but when I talk to people about being in a relationship, that most people say if you talk about your needs, you're being needy or you're being selfish or narcissistic. I have a very different twist. I say if you don't get your needs met, getting your needs met is critical, not just important, but critical to having a happy, healthy relationship. And if you stop getting your needs met and your partner stops getting your needs met, then you're going to have to go see Mai Vu and get dating coaching because you're headed for a divorce. So how do you help people make friends with their needs?
That is, I have a 5-step to like, most of the time people want to get their needs met from someone else. May want to get her needs met to feel safe on the show with Paul. He's got to make her feel safe on the show. Not she has to tend to herself, take care of herself so that she can show up fully here with you. So that's just like a quick example of just you and I who just met and now we're doing a show together, right? So if you do something, say something that is not, I don't know, whatever, you don't even know what to say. But if I'm not healed, if I haven't tended to myself, my own needs, then I'm going to be offended with you. I'm going to be annoyed with you, all that stuff. So the tending to your own needs is such an important step. And it's a 5-step process in my book. And I've been able to like break this down to make it sustainable for people. Shall I tell the 5-step or is that too soon?
Let's hear the other 2. There's so many different
pause
pieces.
It for suspense.
Okay, yeah. Drum roll. We're going to go to the 5 steps, but we have 2 other P's to go. So there's peasant, and I'm lucky you're saying it, not me, because I'm guessing that if I said peasant woman, it might not come. There might be some political incorrectness here. So I'm not going to.
Believe me, all 3 P's are politically incorrect.
Okay, good. Well, I got that out of the way.
Politically incorrect.
Thank you. Thank you.
So it's true because most people beat up on their peasant self. When I call myself my peasant self, I refer to her with the utmost love, kindness, and acceptance. That's because I've been working with her. That's because I know what she's up to. She works really hard. She's very integrous. She wants to serve the world. And she's hoping that if she is good enough, you will love her and accept her. And maybe throw her a bone.
Oh, yeah. Well, hey, listen, I have been the peasant guy then. I will
you
totally.
betcha, honey.
I
Yeah,
totally will own that. It's like trying to earn love if I'm just good enough, and basically at some levels buy or beg, which
yes.
neither of them feel that great. So,
Right? And then you were raised to be the sensitive, nice guy, do everything for the woman, all this stuff, and then you get thrown out, and you're like, what the fuck? How does that happen to me? I worked so hard at this.
all right. So we got the
Classic pain
peasant.
of the poor peasant. Yes. So the
What's the
second
next one?
P that we need to be aware of is our princess self. Princess. This is something that a lot of women can relate to, and a lot of peasant women hate this name. They're like, princess, pooey. I thought I grew out of that phase. I worked really hard to be a strong, powerful woman. Why would you want to put me in my princess? That's like for the little girl out there. I channel a lot of their emotion. I've been thrown this a lot.
I like Mai Vu. The one thing about you is you're subtle.
Yeah, I'm so
Very.
calm and yeah. I used to be in Toastmasters and I give a speech and they're like, and then my feedback is always too lively, too much movement. And they're like, clearly, we're in the
I
wrong
have.
club.
I can relate. I was in Toastmasters, and then I learned how to speak when I worked for Tony Robbins, and Robert Kiyosaki, and so I like a very different way of speaking.
Yes. Oh, we have a Kiyosaki connection. I was one of his coaches a long time ago when he first rolled out his stuff. Anyway, we can compare notes on that later. So back to the 3P. So the second piece is your princess, not your 6-year-old princess self. That's your baby princess. That's not who I'm talking about. Your princess is the part of you that is, she just knows. She knows your birthright, how you should be treated. She's graceful, she's loving, and she elevates other people into their rightful place. She's graceful,
Ah,
right?
yeah,
You
because
were gonna say?
I talk when people are talking to me, I talk to them about the three different places you can be. You can be the catch, the compromise, or the catastrophe. So when somebody's coming to date you, or you're in a relationship, are you the catch, the compromise, or the catastrophe? And the catch isn't like the cheerleader or
That's
the
the peasant
quarterback.
in skirts.
Right. It's like who elevates you? Because when you said princess, it's like you want to be with the catch is somebody who sees the best in you and you see the best, and you're both elevated by the relationship. So I can relate to that. I'm going to find my inner princess in this thing. So I'm
For
going to get
you,
a
my God,
tiara and,
for you, it's the king. For a man, it's the
ah,
king, right? So when a king is around, us women feel safe and we're like, Paul's got us. He's got this. I can surrender into my princess and let you lead. I don't need to have as many slides as you do. My princess is like, no slide needed. Paul's got all the slides. It's all good. We just go for a ride. We make Paul looks good. We make ourselves look good. It's all good. Right? But
okay. Now,
my peasant would be like, oh shit, I should have brought some slides. Whoa, how am I gonna get my stuff in there? So my princess is like, honey, we don't need slides.
yeah. And here you
Fix
go.
it.
There you go.
There you
There's my slides.
go.
It's like, bam.
Bam,
And,
baby.
and, and where we are right over here, what you're doing is giving us the skill sets, at least you have, how to clear up the past, connect and get present, create possibilities for the future. So
Yes.
that is the world that we're in right now. So I'm going to bring it back to you. Now we've got two of the three. So peasant, princess, and
And this one, okay, so the princess is the part of you that is unconditional love, unconditional softness, and she is the part of you that when you walk into a place, you'll know right away, right? If you think about this, when you walk into a dirty motel room, you know right away that's not your place, right? Even though you don't have much money in your pocket, there's a part of you that's just gonna go, wow, we belong to a much better place than this one. That's your princess. She's working. She's telling you, you have no business being here. Or when you meet someone that is not at the same vibration as you, and you really shouldn't be hanging out or talking with that person or even dating them, but you compromise. You're like, well, maybe he's just tired. Maybe he's busy. We can, give him another chance. Your princess is like, no, honey, let's go out. We're out, So that's the part of us that the peasant locked up, and then she's all confused on who she should date and what she should do because she doesn't know her princess anymore. She compromised herself.
Yeah, and we're taught that compromise is good, and actually a lot of times compromise is lose-lose. Like,
Yes, right. But princess, there's a way to elevate it and create together. We can create together, right? So that's the princess party. There's so much more to talk about, but it's an hour long
yeah,
show or 30 minutes. Not an
hour.
long show. Okay.
And
So
50 minutes to an hour. So,
yeah,
all right.
get
So
on
we
with
have
it, May.
we have peasant, princess, and the third P.
So the male version is the king, and the king is slightly different than the princess. But I just wanted
Yeah,
to,
I'd hope.
because you're resonating
Yes.
with it, so I wanted to add that in there. And then I'll talk about how the two sides work together. That's really hard. Okay, so then the third piece, and the third piece usually everywhere I go in the world, people can guess princess on the second piece, but on the third piece, most people don't guess it, can't guess it because it got cut out of our brain a long time ago. Might you know what the third P is?
I have no idea.
Not even in your woo-woo.
Not even my word. A princess. Nope.
A priestess.
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 Oh.
Oh, hello.
I like that because see, I've had actually Alison Armstrong's been on this show before, and she talks about with men, you go from page to knight to prince to king to wizard. And not everybody gets to wizard. Not everybody even gets to king.
Yeah. Oh, that's great that you mentioned that, because there's a difference between how I work and Alison Armstrong works. She is linear stepping. For me, it's about integrating. We need all three P's. We're not going to get out of peasant into princess and go, wait, peasant, get away from me. That is not what I'm talking about. We love our peasant. We bring her with us because she's the one that does all the dirty work. Without a peasant, a mom doesn't do dishes, doesn't clean diapers, doesn't do all that stuff. And we need peasant to be happy and cared for so she can get shit done. Okay?
So I have my peasant. I happen to be the official dish doer. I wash the dishes.
Yeah. And
this
show is your three P. Your three. I don't have a quick acronym for men, but your peasant worked really hard. He's got all the slides together. I read your ebook. It's beautiful. Took hours to synthesize and get that stuff down, and coloring, all that stuff. So your peasant worked really hard to put the show together. Physical work, right? And then your king is like, you own your domain. You pick your guests. You create the space for everyone to flourish in. That's your king at work. And then your wizard is the brilliant Paul brain that channels whatever that has given to you so that you can put it together so that you can teach back. So that's your three P's at work.
Got it. So my peasant, my king, my wizard. And that, when you said the book, just so I argue less, love more, it's on, people can get it on Amazon.
Yes.
It was a bestseller in 5 categories. So I'm
your peasant was extra hard to get 5 categories. My
only my God.
Categories.
Yes, because it was extra hard because I'm dyslexic, grammatically impaired, and my spelling sucks. So it was an act of love. It's not a thick book, but it's a very good book. So,
it doesn't have to be thick. Your book is so applicable and is so point by point, step by step, guiding people. And like immediately, I just read it and it's like, wow, you can really put this to use right away. So I congratulate you on that beautiful book. Very simple, very profound, very useful. Good work.
Thank you.
All three of you.
All three. I'm enjoying my split personality right now.
That's right.
It makes sense. The the peasant, the king, and the wizard. So I will work with those. So those are the 3 P's for the
men.
feminine. Now, how does that tie in to dating, especially
Let me
when
talk
people?
about the priestess for a second,
Okay,
because I
yes,
didn't get to
please.
that. So the priestess is a part of us, because if you have a hardworking physical woman, you have someone who knows her birthright and is know how to bring her beauty and her essence out of herself and other people. Those are pretty good, right? But that's not complete. You need the third P, which holds your purpose and power.
Hmm.
So this is your priestess. This is the part of you that people should bow to, because she has your wisdom. She knows why you're here on this planet Earth. She's leading the world. She's leading you, and she's making a difference. When a woman doesn't have this part, she's empty. And that's
So,
why relationship falls apart. Go ahead.
so wait a second. Now, I have to just stop for a second. I just sort of got chills because thank you, Mai Vu, for this one, because I right now, for some reason, there are a lot of women that are in their 40s, 50s, 60s that are pissed off and disappointed. They were kind of like they were sold, be a good mom, be a good wife, be a good, be a good, and then like at some levels, and I don't want to, I'm careful how I'm treading, but it's like the peasant archetype, serve others, and there's beauty in that. So I'm not demeaning it at all.
Me
But
neither. I love my peasant.
The priestess part is where they're going like, where did that go? And there's this craving for that part of,
yes.
And there's a feminine order. I have, what is it? The FOMO, fear of missing out. Like I watch the women's groups. I go, I'd rather be in some of those, because the sisterhood has become really powerful and strong. And I think part of that is what you're talking about, the priestess. Because then I want to hear how all these tie into dating and who you choose and how you date, and can you get a date on the internet, and all the dating wisdom.
I know. So I so want to go in all different direction here. So the priestess part, you are absolutely right, Paul. The peasant part of us got sold a bad crap. We got sold down the river and turned us into mates and kept us in peasant mode, really. You know, we have to be a good mom, a good worker, a good wife, a good whatever. And she's like, is that all there is to life? Is that all there is? And the harder she works, the crankier she gets, and then she gets ignored and abandoned. You know, there's a lot of peasant mom out there that her husband ended up cheating on her and had the nerve to say, I don't love you anymore because I found someone younger, prettier, and look, they're so cute. Fuck you, right? This is why swearing is so important right now, because there's a lot of anger in humanity around the poor peasant woman who gets stuck holding all these stuff, being so good and yet not being chosen.
And I just want to be clear, this is a equal opportunity show, and there is also a lot of men who have done not as many, but a lot of men who like bought work for 30 years and get retirement. Now it's like work for 2 years and get another job. But
it's true, Paul. The same for men. Men are like, I'm a good provider. I'm a good husband. What more can I do? I even learned to do dishes. And yet you still are not happy. What will make you happy? So both sides are not happy. And that's why dating and relationship is so challenging, is because we're stuck in our peasant mode and we don't have our allies, our king and wizard or princess and priestess to help us to bring that hotness. I love my acronym of hotness. HOT stand for something. Heal, open, and trust. Hot, heal, open, and trust. So you got to heal your peasant and all that wound that you talk about. And then you got to be available. So open to love, open to let yourself be loved, open. And then you got to trust. You got to trust yourself. You got to trust your priestess and your princess to guide you, and trust that he has a king and a wizard to interact with you, to draw that out my God, when you do that together, it's hot. When you
And I
don't, ugh, go ahead.
and I love that we're kind of aligned. I just want people to see the picture. Like, this is a picture. It's taken me 30 years to create, but for lasting love, it's that combination of, so in the center is lasting love, availability, capability, and willingness. And I think part of what you're just talking about right now is that willingness. And it's a willingness to be courageous, to be vulnerable, to be compassionate. And there is no perfect model for relationships, but it seems like we're on the same track here from very different ways we arrived.
Absolutely. I think it's I think there is a perfect model for a relationship, Paul. And I think we are all trying to explain it in our different ways, but we all are putting our finger on it. It's like
Mm-hmm.
first you got to heal yourself so that you're capable and you're able and you're available and you're willing. Because when a woman who's stuck in her peasant self, she's exhausted, she's angry, she's underloved, she's beating herself up, and if you tell her, well, you have to be willing to do this or that, she's going to punch you again, right? So, again, that's where the
I
swearing
hear
comes
you.
in. It's like, no way. But when we pour love onto her and she knows how to do it for herself, then she's open. Now she can learn the skill to do this. She can be willing to listen to the other person. She can be willing to do your, what was that, five thing in your book, right? Cup fill and
Oh yeah, oh yeah. So there's 5 mistakes. It's like
yes,
here. Okay, so thank you for asking. I'll be very quick on this, but if you think about it, there's a listening switch. And this is critical for the listeners. But anytime that somebody, you're talking to somebody and you imply that they're bad, stupid, or wrong, this listening switch goes off. They may be looking at you, but they can't hear a word. It's like Charlie Brown. Wah, 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 wah.
wah wah.
So case building is number one. Anytime you're building a case, you're gathering evidence, who's right, who's wrong, and you're normally right and they're normally wrong. So case building, storytelling, message assuming, cup stuffing, and the fatal F's. And if you stick to the end, and make a comment, I will remember to put it in a free link where you can download my book rather than spend $19.97 plus shipping at Amazon. You can go to my website and get a PDF copy for free.
Yahoo!
Yes. Okay, back to you. We got the 3 things. Now, how do these tie into relationships? Because we've got 20 some minutes to tie into dating rather. And then you said there was 5 steps to get like date ready
To heal your
or
peasant.
healing,
Yes.
to heal your peasant.
So how does it tie into relationship? Well, you guys are witnessing it right now in this moment as you watch me interact with Paul. So I'm just gonna like use us as an example and then I'll tie it into dating, right? So I don't know if you noticed, again, my princess is making Paul look really good. She's making space for Paul to talk about his stuff. She's highlighting it. She took the time to read ahead of time so I'm not just here pushing my own stuff. This is the number one mistake that I see a lot of peasant entrepreneurs do out there is they get out there, they get on shows like this, and it's all about them because they're hungry and starving. They haven't taken the time to heal their peasant. So the peasant is insecure. She doesn't think that there's enough. So then she's like hoarding and fighting for space. I don't need to do that. I know that my radiance, my wisdom, so my priestess is right here. She's like, girlfriend, we got this. We know exactly what we need to do. We don't need slides. We don't need to know that. Just show up. My princess is all together and gracious. So my princess and my princess are leading. And my peasant just come along. She's like, oh, you need a link to my calendar? Absolutely. Here's the link. I already made that last year or whatever, right? So this is the the order that you should send in whenever you are dating, doing relationship, meeting someone for the first time, the second time, or hanging out with my own mother. If I was sending my peasant in first, it's ugly. It's ugly because my peasant needs attention. My peasant is right. My peasant have ideas and all that stuff. But when I send in my princess first, she's gracious, she's open, she's creating from possibility, and she can dance with anybody. She can make anything grow and be fun and joyful. Makes sense?
Yeah, and I'm thinking about on the king side, like I used to work for Tony Robbins, and he gets information from lots of people, and he also acknowledges a lot of people. He doesn't think he doesn't say he's always the source of everything. He's pretty gracious in my experience of being around him. And a lot of other people that I know that are at that level or up in that level tend to do the same thing. It's not all me, me, me. And if you listen to me, I'll talk about the people who changed my life, like my life before and after Tony Robbins or Marshall Rosenberg or Kiyosaki or Marshall Thurber. You know, it's like acknowledging the people who transform your life and be gracious about it. So, okay. And on a date, princess.
You should walk in from your princess, not from your peasant. Your peasant is like, oh, I'm too fat. Oh, did I wear the right thing? Oh, I shouldn't say this. Oh, so she worries about that. And peasant loves dating tips. OMG. I'm a relationship coach and a dating coach, and I hate giving out dating tips because dating tips don't work. Listen, you gotta heal your peasant. When you heal her, she can let your princess out. Your princess knows exactly what she needs to say. She knows what she wants. She knows where she should be. So you don't need tips. You just need to tend to your peasant so that she doesn't act up.
You're making me smile because there's a huge difference between rules and principles. Rules are all about tips and manipulations and all that, like the 3 rules that they did. And then principles are like the theory of gravity. And if you understand the principles, which is what I think you're talking about here, then the rules fall into place. But it's not a manipulation. It's a totally different way of being.
Thank you for that. Principle just makes it, my whole system just settled in when you just said that. And I'm like, yes, that's where it is. So my priestess recognize your wizard right there. The brilliance of Paul. That's like, there it is. You settle right when a wizard speak. We all just kind of go, that is true. That's truth.
Thank you so much. And it's the same with the priestess. There's been several times like I got chills. It's been oh yes, that's the principle has been spoken, and it's the Einstein, I think, said this, at least he's credited, that simplicity is genius, but only on the far side of complexity. So you take all these different rules and all this dating tips and all this other stuff, and then you go, oh, peasant, princess. And priestess.
Yep.
Boom, boom, boom.
Princess, priestess, and peasant. That's what we should do. Princess, priestess, and peasant. You need all 3. Do not leave your peasant behind. We are not cutting out your peasant. We love your peasant. So that's number 1. And then, when you enter into any situation, find your princess. If you can't find it, a fun way is just imagine a tiara on your head. It's a great structure, really, because no woman slump around when a tiara is placed on her head. Suddenly she just kind of rise up and kind of go, hello, I'm here at last. Wow, look at that. Who is this? So get to know your princess, and then really allow your priestess to speak. A lot of women are afraid to be powerful, afraid of her own wisdom. She keep reading books to find other people's wisdom. Honey, you have your own wisdom. Go inside, quiet down so that you can find your wisdom.
So I'm going to ask, this is almost like a rule, but it's going to be different than a rule. Okay. It's like, if you, because someone
I don't like tips, so now he's using rules.
Well, it's what I want to hear is how a dating site, how a dating profile would sound if it was the peasant, if it was the priestess, if it was the princess, because there've been people in here asking about online dating and stuff. And it's like, it'd be nice to have them see a reflection of these three different ways of looking at it. And the other thing
Yes, it
that's a
might blow your
critical,
mind.
yeah, there's a critical thing is that, and I know I'm men might rebel against this, but men need to be needed, and women have been taught to not have needs. And so part of what I'm seeing in your description is that a powerful princess has needs and has made friends with them. So
Uh, yeah. So, which question to start first? Start me somewhere because all of that was
okay,
so
I'll
rich.
start you. I'll go back all the way back to the three describing a dating profile from a peasant, a princess, and a priestess.
Okay, good. So the peasant. Ah, this is actually one of my most favorite thing to do is when my clients share with me their dating profile, and I'm like, let me rewrite that for you. So the peasant profile sounds very typical. It's like, oh, I'm looking for this. I want walks on the park and da da da. I would like to travel. Da 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 da. Could you just kill me now? It's so boring. Is it okay to say that?
Oh yeah,
Sorry, guys.
absolutely. And actually, what I'm going to do, Mai Vu, is I am going to put up while you're doing this, just so that people get a shot at it. If this resonates, if she resonates with you right now, and you want to have her like overhaul your whole world, that's a calendar link
30
for her.
minutes with me will change your life. Be
I'm I'm
careful. No.
I'm absolutely sure it will. And that is a super valuable gift that she does. And partly, I think it's to find out there's two things. One is you can check her out, but she's also checking you out because some of the results she gets are incredible. And part of that is because she works with incredible people.
Yeah. Well, also, it's funny, most people are like, really? You give out a calendar on a show like this? What if you have 1,000 people? Actually, I don't because people are not available. Ha! Back to you, bro. They're not available for love. I'm giving them the most valuable thing, which is 30 minutes with me. And they come up with excuses on why they can't or they're not ready. And so that's an indication that they're not available for dating and love either. Because this is like pure love that's gonna come and help you with your life, right? So I've never been inundated. I've had people from Romania call me. I've had Philippines call me, which is great, by the way. So I welcome a conversation with you all. It's my pleasure to be able to serve. So I'm glad. We were in the middle of talking about something.
Yes, we were talking about the dating profiles from
Yes. Okay.
what it would
Great.
look
Let's
like
do it.
peasant, priestess, or princess, priestess.
And princess. Yes. So So back to the first thing that we talked about, which was you don't date to find the one, but you date to find yourself. So if you come from that place, then what do you want to experience? Don't try to get the whole shebang in there. And peasant women are very efficient, right? They like, I don't want to waste time on bozos and things, so I'm just going to write as detailed and try to get one shot out of that's the one and zero in. That's called a scarcity model, right? Because you're just looking. So what I suggest for women to do is break it down. So what is it that you want to experience? Right? So if you have wounded stuff in your life, like for me, I never was treated like a princess when I was growing up. I was a very good peasant for a long time until I was 40 years old. So for me, I wanted to know what it's like to be treated like a princess. So I wrote
Mm.
a thing for that. It's like, I would like to be treated like a princess. I would like to experience, yummy conversation dinner that I don't have to split the bill with. I want to like experience this, and whatever it is that you want to experience, to reclaim, to heal yourself, put that in there so that the man knows what to bring to the table and allow that to grow. Go ahead.
So that is awesome. It's requesting to the universe what you want to experience. What I want to experience is being treated this way, rather than hoping that you're going to get them hooked and then they'll magically know what you want. Like being clear, here's what I actually want.
Yes, and each dating engagement, each time you're out with someone, there is something there for you to heal and take back, for something about you to encounter. So go in with that philosophy, with that truth, that principle, rather than go in so hungry and going, TikTok, TikTok, I'm getting old, I need to find the one ASAP. That's just like a total bucket of neediness that you're about to dump onto someone. It's so painful. That's the princess, right? Here's the priestess. The priestess might blow your mind. So, priestess. The peasant lives in your head. The princess lives in your heart. Guess where the priestess lives?
In your wisdom, in your soul, in your yoni.
Yes, my darling. That's where your power is. That's true power. That's your truth right there. That's where your priestess lives. So if your priestess is writing the dating profile, it's like, hot Asian woman, 42, wants to be serviced today at 3 o'clock. I have 2 hours. Tell me what you can do with your hands, with your mouth. Let's see. Apply below. Because the priestess want to be serviced.
Wow.
Fuck. What? Did she just say that? Oh my God.
And each one has a different, and what I want people to do is to look at where do you end up resonating and what makes you uncomfortable. Is it like, oh, the efficiency of the peasant? And I've read those in the past, and I kind of I go, I have no interest here, because it's more of what I don't want. I don't want you this, I don't want, and then it's like, and the princess, I can connect to that, and I can think about if I was writing it as a king, and then the priestess is like, oh my God, did I just read that? And part of me wants to lean in, and so
like if I
here's a comment for you. Whoops. Here's a comment for you. Has this lady got a YouTube channel? She is lovely to listen to. So
I actually do have a YouTube channel. It's Hot Life, Hot Love. I haven't fed it for the last year or so with COVID and everything. However, the material is very fun. It's Hot Life, Hot Love YouTube channel. So feel free to go there and consume, enjoy. Oh, and I'm actually starting a new channel that called Late Night Girl Chat. Late Night Girl Chat. There's a Late Night Girl Chat page on Facebook. So if you look that up, you can find me there. We do a show every Friday. That's really fun. Yes.
Cool. And then this will go up. It is on Facebook Live now, but it also goes up on YouTube, and you can get a link and put it on your channel. So this will be part of your new stuff.
See, acknowledgement to your peasant. He works really hard. He's getting StreamYard down. He's on Facebook and he's on YouTube. This stuff takes forever to do. So I really do honor your peasant. My peasant sees your peasant and she bows to him.
Thank you so much. Now, we're kind of wrapping up a little bit, but you had said there was 5 steps to healing.
To heal your peasant, yes.
And before we go there, one other thing is what I want to do is hear from people in the comments. What has Mai Vu said, or maybe me, but what has resonated with you the most that you can relate to, and what are you going to do about it? And then when you think about writing your profile, do you think about writing it more as the peasant, the princess, or the priestess? Which one is currently comfortable, and then which one do you really want to do it? Do you want to go like, oh my God, that sounds so juicy. I'd like to do that, but it's terrifying. So
let me give a simpler pieces version. That was actually one of my profile when I was going through my own PhD in sex, love, and relationship. So I finally got to a place where I could write that. My first profile was like my peasant was terrified. Anyway, but a milder version of the priestess is saying, I am looking to heal my relationship with myself. I would like to learn more about my sexuality. I'm open to learn. So if you have a specialty, apply below. Let me know what is your specialty. If it matches with what I want to experience, I will engage with you. That's really powerful so that we don't have to dance around sex anymore, but we really use it as a tool to connect. Men really gravitate to that. They love that woman's honesty and courage to say, hey, this is what I want to experience. I have an orgasm. Who would like to come and bring some orgasm on this body? Wow, men are like, yes, I can do that. I'm good at that. Let me bring that.
there is my beloved showed me this thing on Netflix, and I wish I remembered what it is, but it's about women learning how to pole dance. And at first, it's like you think, oh, that's sexist. And it's like, no, it's for the women, by the women. It's about them finding that priestess power, that
Yes,
feminine
I
thing.
used to have one in my living room.
Why did I know that?
And just so you know, and one of my clients eventually years later bought it and took it to Hawaii with her. She actually hauled this thing to Hawaii and she has it over there right now. That's a beautiful pole.
Yeah, and you watch these women go through huge transformations and fall in love with their bodies again and with life and their sensuality. And it's like men have been encouraged to express their superpower, their strength, they're
Yes.
smart businessmen, they're powerful. If they're physical, they're in sports.
Yeah.
And women have been taught to suppress their superpower and
Yes.
to not be so sexy, not use it because it's not fair. It's not fair.
Peasant world, trying to keep you in the peasant thing. I wanted to add to what you just said about men. Men also have been so in their own ways wanting us to bring out our beauty, sensuality, sexuality. Men love us for that. But we have been trained to castrate ourselves, and then we turn around and castrate men and dump all of our sexual shame onto men and then make them icky, dirty, and disgusting just because they see our sexuality, they see our sensuality, and they love it, and they just want us to have more of it. That's it. When I figured that out, everything changed.
Absolutely. So can you zip the 5 things in so that we...
Oh, the 5 things. Okay, step number 1.
And I'm going to put the link in the comments for my book so that people can get it. And while you're doing that,
I have a visual that I could send along of the 5 things. But the 5 steps to healing a peasant. Number 1 is telling the story. So the story. So you go ahead and write out all the things that happened to that peasant today. So just verbal vomit, right? So that's number 1. Most people stop at that point. And when you stop at that point, you don't heal. You just dig the wound, the scab deeper. Okay, so you have to go to step number 2.
Story. Okay.
The story. Step number 2 is what does this remind you of? So in other words, the story underneath the story. So right?
That's so wise.
This
Got it.
remind me of when my mother hit me, or this remind me when my best friend abandoned me for blah blah blah. So that's the story underneath the story. So that's step number 2. That's really important because that is what's been haunting you. That is when you can start to really see the pattern in your life. Okay, so do step number 2. What's the story underneath the story? Step number 3, my favorite step, it's the oh baby step. Oh baby, oh my God, this is terrible. I see you. Oh baby, you've been hurt. Oh baby, you're so frustrated. Oh baby, you try and nobody's listening to you. Oh baby, so we start with the all baby so that we can access that compassion. For some reason, peasant women are great at patting and tending to other people, but when to themselves, they're cold-hearted, man. They can't get to it. They're just like, there, that's what happened to me.
Hey, I want to make sure that the men are hearing this too, that this is gold, guys. This is totally gold.
It's so good when
The story behind the story, and the ah baby. So we're three.
it's so good when my male client go through the step with me, and then they say, "Oh, honey," or "Oh, dude, sorry that happened, dude. That was really painful, dude. I'm sorry. That your dad did that to you, that he shamed you, blah blah blah." Oh my God, it just like vibrates through their system and rearrange everything to put it in the right order. So that's step number 3, the all baby step.
Ah baby, okay.
Step number 4 is to bring that come home. It's called come home. So you're literally bringing that little boy or little girl home into your heart.
Mm.
Physically grab imaginary little boy or little girl and bring it into your heart. It's like, come home now. You are safe, because that part of you that has been hurt has been left out there. Back
Okay.
in whatever 1960 something, right? So you need to bring that part home and say, come home, you belong here now, you're safe now. So come home, you belong with me now, you're safe now, I see you. I like to imagine a table, a Thanksgiving dinner table, where all the seats are all my little wounded kid that got left out there. And when I find one, I bring her home and say, here's your seat, baby. I even got a booster chair for you. I love you. Welcome home. You're no longer left out there. So that's step number 4. Come home.
And I just want to say one thing about your whole thing is that if we can't be compassionate with ourselves, we have a hard time being compassionate with others. And when you're doing this is not a selfish thing. This is the most generous thing you can do for yourself and your kids and your family, to heal the heart. So Mai Vu, you've really like nailed it into simple step by step. So we're at number 4, come home. So
come
number
home.
1 story.
And to Paul's point, if you can't do this for yourself, but you keep hoping that you're going to meet someone that can do that for you, he tries, but you bash it away. You're like, oh, no, don't say that. You're not receiving it. But if you can do it for yourself, somebody said to you, oh, wow, look at you go. You're so amazing. You're like, thank you. I know. I've been working really hard at seeing my own amazingness, right? So that's a come home thing. And finally, step number 5. This is where you could give yourself advice. This is this way forward. The last step is this way forward. So this is where your priestess comes in and guide you, right? So Paul, I see you. I'm sorry you were hurt. Blah blah blah. Come home, and hey, dude, it's not 1965 anymore. We're not a little kid anymore. We're adult now. We know how to do this. This is what we're going to do. So that's when you can give yourself guidance. Most people tell the story and skip the 3 step and go right to shooting themselves. So when you just go from pain, something happened to you, you don't even know why you're so upset, and then you go to, well, I should just cut them out of my life. All you do is repeat patterns.
Thank you so much. So as we're wrapping this up, those are the 5 steps. There's the 3: peasant, princess, priestess, and then let's see if I nail it. Story, then the story about the story. Now I'm in trouble.
No, it's not a test. I'm right here.
Is it the dude next?
Baby. Yes, dude.
Baby.
Yeah.
Got it. And then you've got to fill in the other 2. So
then come home.
Come home.
You're safe now, right? And then the last step is this way.
The advice, the guidance. Yeah. That is a beautiful healing thing, and almost all of us need it, because if we're not available, then there's not much there. So there's 2 things people can do. If you're excited about what has happened, you can reach out to Mai Vu, and I'm going to put her link back up there. And the second thing is, a friend of mine who's also a relationship coach and I are teaching a course called single to relationship ready. And I may actually ask Mai Vu to come in on some of that to help with this, because she's obviously got some real wisdom. So if you want to get a hold of Mai Vu, that's where her link is. And if you want to know more about, let's see if I can shrink that down, single to relationship ready, that's March 23rd, 6:30 to 8:30. If you go to arguelesslovemore.com/ready, there is a link there that you can go to, and it will take you in, and Trish Wright and I are going to be teaching about that. And it's setting yourself up to take you from where you are now to where you want to go and get relationship ready in the healing process. So Mai Vu, I'm going to bring you back up on the screen. Any closing thoughts for us? And actually, wait 1 second. Those people out in Facebook land, any closing thoughts or thank yous for Mai Vu? So that this is your chance to appreciate her and what we produced here. So there you go. There's the first one.
I see Turquoise Rose. I love that name, by the way. Turquoise, say thank you so much. And also Danielle Riverin. Oh my gosh, you really have been active in participating. So I really want to thank you for that too. It's awesome.
Yeah. So any closing thoughts for people that are scared and terrified of getting back out and dating again? Because I know people that haven't dated for 10, 20, and 30 years because they were married and their partner may have passed away or got a divorce or something. And the whole world has transformed.
Yeah. And then they hide behind their kids, and now the kids are gone. And now they're like, so my truest and only wish for you all is that you allow yourself to be loved, adored, and cherished. You deserve to be loved, adored, and cherished. And may you live happily ever after, but for real this time.
Oh my God. Well, thank you, Mai Vu. This Turquoise Rose just wrote it, so lovely to listen. I just wrote a book about how to be a princess, about to design the cover. So it was lovely to lovely synchronicity to meet you and meet more people who
Awesome.
understand the
That's
princess
amazing.
energy and ability.
Yes.
So thank you, everybody. We got to see some of your comments. We didn't get to see all of them because this goes out to a lot of different places. So we will try to get back to you. And if you didn't get Mai Vu's info for some reason, you can want Mai Vu's info in one of the comments, and we will make sure to get it to you. Thanks, Mai Vu, and thank you,
Paul.
everybody. Ciao.
Ciao.